Throw the switches.
10,000 microwatts of knowledge.
Let's get down to business.
Obsessed with more nude celebrities than TMZ.
Davis, I'm not going to see this man dangle for your delight.
You're listening to The Director's Cut.
The nation's #1 show about the movies.
Good movies, nothing more and nothing, well, maybe less.
Creating the idiot, one village at a time. The Director's Cut.
Better than listening to Dead Air.
You're listening to The Director's Cut.
Yeah, you're listening to Director's Cut Radio. You know, each and every week we bring you the latest in Hollywood. My name is Dan, and in the studio we have the lovely Harley Quinn 505, Miss Steph Sugar.
Hi.
Hi. What's going on?
Nothing.
Oh, that's good.
I'll let you know.
Oh, okay. And then on the phone, we also have the lovely Chris Maloney.
Hi.
Our man from the comic book shop who visits all the time and says hi to the guys and team over there and their hard work selling comics. It sounds like hard. Is that hard work? I guess it's not really hard work. Sit behind a counter.
I mean,
There's
you
some
got to alphabetize, do some organization, but
tedious
I can't
work.
imagine it's the most laborious of industries.
Yeah. Not coal. He's not. They're not coal mining for the day.
You're not coming home with the black one.
Exactly. How was your week,
Maybe
Chris?
the occasional paper cut. It was decent week. Usual. Stay home and quarantine. My blanket is coming along nicely.
Oh yeah, you've been knitting or crocheting, right?
Crochet Chronicles of Chris.
The Crochet Chronicles of Chris.
I've been beating a bunch of video games that have remained unbeaten on my list for a while, and yeah.
Which games?
Hanging out, living that 2020 life.
Which games did you beat so far?
This week I beat Zelda Spirit Tracks on the Nintendo DS.
Nice.
And the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword on the Nintendo Wii.
Is Zelda one of your favorite characters?
Zelda, yeah, is probably my all-time favorite series of video games.
Is it because he wears green?
That definitely helps the situation.
Is that... I realize there's a trend here on your favorite characters, Chris.
The color green sparks creativity. So maybe when he sees the color green, it's making him want to finish the game. Probably.
If he sees green, he knows it ain't easy.
I'm not envious.
All right, I'm sorry. Our in-studio audience is very upset with that one. Thank you. Sorry.
Hiss.
They were mad.
Hissing. When's the last time you heard someone hiss?
Like, how do you hiss at a show?
I've never seen anyone hiss at a show, and I've seen a lot of bad shows that probably could have used some hissing.
I feel like that's like an older trope that has gone out of style, kind of like throwing tomatoes.
Oh.
Throwing
like
tomatoes?
It was more in the days of like the melodrama and like, you know, the bad guy comes out and twists his mustache and everyone says, boo, hiss, this is the bad guy. He's no good. Shame on him.
That's it. You know what? My next act that I get to do on a stage, I'm going to throw tomatoes at the crowd.
That's great.
Yeah. Like cherry
Bring
tomatoes.
it back, y'all. Bring it back.
Well, you know, there was a performer I saw that she performed a song where she dressed as like a teenager, and she performed to a song, She's Only 17 by Warrant or whatever.
She's only
80s.
17? Okay.
She's only 17.
Yeah.
Okay. So she comes out on
So
stage.
burlesque to that song.
Pedophile burlesque, right?
That's terrible.
So she comes out and she's got like bubblegum or candy pieces or something like in her underwear and in her bra. And the whole act, she's like pulling the pieces of candy out and throwing them super hard into the air and like violently throwing
terminal velocity
candy or whatever it is coming out of her underwear and whatever. And it's just like, there was some certain pieces where I was like, dude, I'd be Like you have to watch the stage, because if you don't pay attention, you're gonna get pelted in the eye with a double bubble gum from like 1999, and we know how hard bubble gum gets when you don't eat it within the first like 3 months.
Man dies on choke of bubble gum from a pack of playing cards or a pack of trading cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if she was able to throw candy on stage,
pelt,
you can just. I guess it's just allowed. I'm like, okay, but I got in trouble for having craft glitter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, glitter is the worst, man. Come on.
Glitter is actually a burlesque staple.
Bubble.
Well, right. But the glitter stays
Staple
on
or
stage.
not, that is a bitch to clean up.
No, it's forever. Glitter is forever. Diamonds get lost. Diamonds can get stolen. Glitter is forever.
Diamonds get lost.
Lost.
Glitter is forever. That should be a new slogan for burlesquers.
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
How was your week, Steph?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, there was a part
The
where
jury's out.
yeah, like I totally woke up and was just like, what day is it? And then I was just like, oh, is that what? Oh yeah, today is Wednesday. And then like the whole day people are, girl, today's Thursday. I'm like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of did that too this week.
So I kind of felt like I was losing my mind this past week, because that's just like, that's not me. Like I'm always like aware of what's happening. And I feel like at the beginning of this whole thing, it was just like, okay, I got to take it one day at a time and one day at a time. And then it goes on. And then you're just like, oh my God, it's been taken one day at a time for a few months now. It's time to, amp the next level of psychosis. So what day is it? I don't know.
What month is it?
A lot of people are, we're starting to get busy with projects, because now we're all like starting to realize the groove of things. And now it's like
how to work in the world.
Yeah, like another friend of mine, she works for museums and stuff, and she just got this really great gig of like a traveling museum tour bus, and she was supposed to be traveling around the city and doing like
pop-up museum for kids.
Kind of like just like pulling up to places, and the kids could just go outside and go in the little bus, and every month or every 2 months it would change the theme. And so now they're like regrouping things to do it virtually. Everything's virtual, online. And now she was like, yeah, I had to go back to a paper calendar because I'm just starting to lose track of like, there's days to chill because there really isn't anything going on outside, but online I'm being swamped with stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to get to that point too, because I've got a lot of like online shopping I've been doing, and then that means outfits, and then that means trying to schedule shoots by myself, because it's just I'm not going to try to deal with like the accountability of a photographer making sure they show up with a mask or make sure they show up and act decent.
Oh, that's difficult.
Yeah.
All right.
Selfies for days.
Selfies for life.
No, I've got a trusted photographer.
Oh.
Yeah, his name's Dan.
Oh.
Yeah, you can look him up on Instagram as Dan Photog.
We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we'll be back with more from Director's Cut Radio, or that show about movies and
Photogs.
God.
Dropping your average IQ since 2005.
I don't know what you're saying, but that's what's going on, yeah.
The Director's Cut. The Director'sCutRadio.com. 10,000 microwatts of knowledge. You're listening to The Director's Cut. Without microphones, we'd still live with our parents.
Yeah.
You're listening to Director's Cut Radio. You know, each and every week we bring the latest in Hollywood and whatever else we find in the world. My name is Dan. In the studio, we have Harley Quinn 505, Miss Steph Sugar.
Hello.
And on the phone, we have Chris Maloney. What'd you think of that, Chris?
It was, I dig it. It's kind of Depeche Mode.
Yes.
Yeah, Corinne?
Corinne Band.
Yeah,
Yes.
K-O-R-I-N-E, Corinne Band on Instagram, Corinne, K-O-R-I-N-E-B-A-N-D on Instagram. And
They were doing like virtual concert shows at the beginning of quarantine, and they've just been pretty active with their merchant. They ordered so much merchandise.
Yeah.
To get ready for their shows, for all their tours this year, or for their tour this year. And it's like they just have like vinyls. They've got these clear like jelly colorful vinyls and stuff. Like they're really on
they're ready
trend.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah, they've really got it like all going on, and then this happened. So I just felt like, you know what? I'd really like to play their music, get them on the radio. And I could totally hear their music playing.
No, that's awesome.
Radio.
I can hear it on New Wave on on the radio,
Right.
on satellite radio.
Yeah.
That's a good group.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear
And
more.
how'd you find? Okay, so the people that are just tuning in, we were talking off the break. They sent their music into us. And
Yeah. So on Instagram, I think I was watching a henna tutorial by one of my good henna friends that I used to buy henna cones from when I would have my salon and stuff. And I'm pretty sure she was playing it in the background. And she was doing like little patterns and stuff, and then she just put it in the comments. She was just like, music is Korean band, and she put it in the comment and posted it, and I was listening. I was like, oh my God. And I was just like, I mean, I grew up listening to like Depeche Mode and anything keyboardy because of like, it was my mom's jam. It's the typical, good stripper music. So when I heard them, and then I went to their page, and I was like, oh, they like got a cool look. They got this cool aesthetic, and they just very different, very interesting.
They have a really good look.
And yeah, I mean, if nothing happened with shows and stuff and public performances shutting down, I'm sure they would be huge right now.
It's a weird combo between like kawaii and grunge.
It's very good.
It's like very like preppy or like little cutesy grunge.
It's chill,
weird,
it's chill grunge music or
style.
Yeah, because it's heavy hitting. Like these beats are.
Oh yeah.
They're good. Like it's energetic music, but still chill at the same time. It's really nice.
It's new wave. It's new wave.
I really like
Postmodern
it.
new wave.
Doing a really good
So
job.
new. We're on the wave.
We'll play a little bit more of them, and I will be, hoping that you guys jam out to them as well.
I dig it. Dig it. Chris, what'd you see this week?
This week I watched Heavyweight, the 90s classic from Disney.
Good, we did too.
Yeah, he told me last night he was going to watch it. After I told him we watched it, so he's like, all right, I'll get on the same page.
And then when I watched it, I realized that I did watch it a lot on Disney Channel as a kid.
We have notes.
We wrote notes throughout the whole movie, beginning to end, of all the parts that stood out to us as very controversial things that would not be able to happen in movies now. So,
do you want to start it? Let's do it. Let's start it now. Heavyweights. What did you think of the movie? Did you watch it back then when you were a kid?
I did remember seeing this in theaters. I think possibly at the now extinct Dollar Theater.
Okay.
Over on San Mateo.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't realize like how many actual like people from other things there were in this.
yes.
I had forgotten that it has quite the cast.
It's almost like cats. Fat cats.
It's true. Camp Nowhere. We also watched Camp Nowhere. We were on a kick. Okay, this was the idea this week. Was that we were going to watch some stuff from our childhood to see what would like survive today. Because just from the title alone, Heavyweights, it sounds like a movie they would not make today. It's just fat shaming children, the movie, which is
so
not going to fly at all in a modern society. Do you agree, Chris?
Yeah, probably a lot of this stuff wouldn't work today. I agreed.
Then I decided, what else? What about a camp movie? Like Camp Nowhere. Seemed pretty basic. It's just kids going unruly in a camp. It's Lord of the Flies without killing off Piggy with Asmar. Right?
Right.
Okay.
So, and then I decided they could remake Camp Nowhere today, like with coronavirus.
Right.
I came up with a little storyline. If the studio execs want to reach out, here's the quick storyline, COVID-19 style. Ready, Chris? It's my tagline. Here it is.
All right, go for it.
Camp Nowhere, basically the remake would be COVID Camp. What happens is instead of having all these these kids decide to convince their parents to like send them off to camp and get money for it, it's the other way around. These parents are so oblivious that they think the camp is still going during the pandemic and send their kids off. All right? But the camp was canceled in advance. You see? So
right.
Camp is canceled. These parents didn't get the memo, and they dropped their kids off anyway. So it's the other way around. Instead of parents being so forcing camp onto a kid, they're just so neglected that they just leave the kid off at camp. All right? But the kids find out really quickly. And instead of, oh, no, Mom, this isn't a real camp. Oh, no, I don't want to be here all by myself. And they're like, hell yeah, get away from parents. We can do whatever the hell we want. We have a whole camp to ourselves. Let's have fun. That's the scenario.
So it's kind of like Home Alone at a summer camp.
Yeah, Home Alone at a summer camp. So it's the other way around.
Okay.
But the other thing is that there's still a pandemic going on. So if one of these kids gets sick, you see? Do they tell their parents, or do they just let the kid die in the 2 weeks or whatever? So they have to do all the quarantining and stuff.
There you go. Make it zombies, and you might have a hit on your hands.
Actually, I'm going even further. It's zombie time. Screw it. They're not going to make Camp COVID. They're not making this movie.
No.
And it's not going to be kids. It's going to be military guys. We're bringing back Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Expendables cast.
The
We're bringing
Expendables.
This is now Expendables 6.
Yeah. They fight COVID zombies.
Let's fight off zombies. COVID. All right. That's where it is. All right, getting back to the original story, heavyweights. They're not going to make these movies these days. There's a lot of these concepts that just don't fly. Let's go through the list of some of this stuff. Okay, in the very first 2 minutes of the film.
So the credits are going, all right? The credits are going. Right. It's coming in, heavyweights. We're getting like the general idea of the main character because the child is, being focused on, camera angles, all this stuff, right? And he's just walking through town. He's like just being a human walking. There's this scene where this lady is walking her dog, and he's just there. The kid is what? He's 12. He's like 12 or 13.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's got to be like a middle school, not high school, but like maybe going. It has to be middle schoolers.
Mid-teen, yeah.
So he's not. He was hired because he's a chubby kid, but he's just a chubby kid standing there. Mm-hmm. There's a lady holding a dog. The dog sees the kid, and the dog just starts foaming at the mouth, barking. And like, it's uncontrollable. Like, the lady doesn't even say stop. She's just holding the leash and like letting it like go out of control, like barking at this child. It's like, if I was walking down the street, I'm not going to let my animal just like bark at a child. And it certainly isn't barking at a child because he's fat. And like, it just felt like that was such an unnecessary, like, hey, let's, like, whose idea was that to, like, hey, Jim, let's get a dog and let's make sure the dog barks like hell when he walks around the corner. Like,
this kid is so fat, he's ugly, and even dogs don't like him. That's what they're trying to say in one shot.
Yeah, I really did not understand. I hope the dog got paid. I just don't understand why that had to happen. I don't think that was necessary. I don't think the helicopter was necessary. There's a opening area, where they're showing off like the camp. Credits are coming in, and they've got this helicopter.
Oh, helicopter
scene.
shot. Yeah.
And I was like, so there wasn't drones back then, so they literally like paid for a helicopter
just get one shot of the camera
just to get footage of a
corner.
mountain.
Yeah.
We could have Googled that, right? All right. So money. I think money is.
Back then.
I think money is being spent in the wrong areas so far. And this is just opening credits. So we're going to continue on talking about heavyweights coming up next.
And Camp Nowhere. We'll talk about them all after this. We're Director's Cut Radio, that show about movies and whatever else we...
Camp somewhere.
Wow.
Camp.
The Director's Cut.
Offensive, obnoxious, disgusting. You want me to go on?
Insulting listeners since 2005. We're just a couple of guys who like movies.
It's strange at times to work with. They're insane. But, always fun.
The Director's Cut.
It's just fun!
You know, each and every week we're bringing the latest in Hollywood. The music you're listening to is a bit from Corinne Band. You can find them on Instagram, Corinne Band. K-O-R-I-N-E. Band, B-A-N-D. You know how to spell that. My name is Dan. In the studio, we have Harley Quinn 505, Miss Steph Sugar.
Hello.
And on the phone, we have Chris Maloney.
Yo.
And on the interwebs, we've got Suicide Girl viewers.
Oh, hi, Suicide Girl viewers. Yes. How are you?
They're doing great. They're doing great. They enjoy this every Sunday. And
we have like a secret TV radio show on Suicide Girls every Sunday.
Yeah, this is literally a private club. Like anyone who joins the Suicide Girls stream on Sundays, this is a literal like first look at the show, unedited and raw, but before it's even aired, and then they get to see the show. No one else gets to see the show. The other host, Chris, doesn't get to see the show either.
What the heck, man?
We're all quarantining over here. He's busy knitting.
He's crocheting. He's making a blanket.
Making blankets.
Making blankets.
Also,
that's so
making
great.
Blankets.
Also, for anybody else that wants to send their music in to us, go to our website, directorscutradio.com.
Yes, if any of you have musical friends, which I know you do. I know you guys have creative friends out there in and around the world, and have them send their music over. We were even playing like a French jazz artist.
Yeah, the other day.
A couple weeks ago. So literally anything you want to send over. But...
yeah, send it our way.
But so before we went to the break, one of my avid listener, follower, friender, people's supporter groupies,
someone on Suicide Girls,
my little Suicide Girl groupie, Creek. His name goes by Creek on the platforms. We all have aliases. We don't ask names around here. We just don't. Well, some people do. He said that he enjoyed the movie very much, and actually he considers himself a fat kid. When he watched the movie, he didn't see it as fat shaming, and said nowadays everything gets so picked apart it loses its fun. LOL. And I can kind of see that point as well. Like, I did watch the movie and over again as a kid because why? I was a child. I wasn't offended by anything because I didn't know better because I was a child, and I literally saw it for the funny fact of what was happening. And now that I'm older and I'm looking at these notes and I'm like, well, obviously I wouldn't have written any of this down as a kid. I mean, if someone asked me as a kid,
what's wrong with this movie?
Why did my video end?
Oh, your stream?
Yeah, it just clicked me out on purpose. All right, I'm going to go back in. If I watched this as a kid and like someone asked me, hey, can you let us know, like, do you think this is bad? Do you think this is a sad move? Or, you know, how do you feel? What do you think that kid's going through? Or, you know, I mean, maybe I would have thought a little bit more about it, but still at the same time, it was funny.
But are we of the time where we just conditioned by society to accept fat jokes and fat shaming as the norm, and instead realizing that this is actually psychologically damaging for those in the long term?
Oh, it is, because now that I'm older, I actually realize this movie did imprint on me to make me not be a fat kid.
Because we get deeper. There's notes on this that really point out some really bad stuff. Right now, it's just like, okay, dog barking at a kid.
Right.
It's just bad directing at this point. To try to make this kid seem awkward.
Can you get my cord? Yeah. So the helicopter, they use the word portly when they describe the child. there's Chris, do you remember the scene where they get sent to the camp and the counselor guy who used to be a fat kid and he lost weight, and then he was like, look, I have buns of steel, and he was doing like this gyrating dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
So I just thought that was a little weird. That was like, the second you get to a camp, it's just like, we're promoting that you want buns of steel. And you want to be able to dance like this guy.
But that's Paul Feig, which is the crazy part. Paul Feig, director of Bridesmaids and director of like Ghostbusters and all that. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That is wild.
So it's just little. They were degrading the kids. Like, it wasn't even like, hey, we really want you to get healthy. It was just like, you're just so stupid because you're so fat and you're never going to amount to anything. It was just like literal, like, insane because of how they wanted to design their kids. I don't know. I'm looking at these notes now and I'm like, we should have wrote a little bit more.
Okay.
Oh, talk about that.
Okay. Which one? All right. One of the terrible things, and this is where I say that I think society was conditioning.
We're just picking apart heavyweights for anyone.
Is that one of the scenes that really stood out to me was, so the villain of the story is played by Ben Stiller, and he comes in trying to rebuild the camp that so this kid goes to a fat camp of the time. And instead of it being a real fat camp where everyone's getting fit and exercising, basically it's almost like a fat sanctuary for these kids because all of the kids are chubby. They all go there. They've had fun every year. The camp counselors are like, yeah, you should get fit, but
well, the owners of the camp
slide. Yeah.
The owners of the camp are Ben Stiller's parents. Mm-hmm. And they're just chilling. They just don't care. They want the kids to have fun. I wish there was a little bit more background on how they just didn't really care that the kids weren't losing weight, because it's like, how was this going on for the past couple of years that there's other kids like, that have done it 2 or 3 years and they're like, oh yeah, we do this all the time. We always have snacks and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, how come there's no parents that are mad that their kid's not losing weight and they just keep going back to this camp or like gaining 9 pounds in your first week back because of all the snacks and stuff? So it's like, okay, I wish there was more context on that before they exited so quickly at the beginning of the movie. I was sad. I was like, dang it.
But I do like the feeling that the camp used to be a sanctuary for these kids, that they just got to fit in with other like fellows and had fun and had the time of their lives. And then Ben Stiller's character, who's this guy that's P90X style trying to get these kids to lose weight, and he's trying to sell this so he can make billions of dollars and send all these kids to camp. And he's supposed to be the villain. He takes over, takes all their food, takes all their snacks, takes everything, and really makes it a grueling camp to go to.
And when we say villain, can I just say that his acting in this was like, it was almost like a role that could have been Jim Carrey. It was a very Jim Carrey-esque vibe to it with how much he got into this villainous character. I was just like,
this is the type of character that you hiss at.
He's hissing. It was I didn't realize.
Ooh, hiss.
Yeah, hiss. Like this movie, I didn't realize how much I actually watched it until we watched it again the other night, and I'm just like realizing how much this Ben Stiller character really stood out to me a lot. More than any other movies. Like, I think the next movie would probably be Meet the Parents. As the next big movie I saw him in. But I'm like, dang, that was like Ben Stiller in like a major movie that was on Disney all the time, all summer. All summer.
Yeah.
This movie was on all summer. Like at least every Friday. They had certain reruns of Disney Channel original movies that would constantly go. I don't know why this keeps ending. I think the Wi-Fi's tripping. Something's going on
That's
over
weird.
there. Yeah, my live stream just ended again. Hello, technical difficulties.
It looks like it's running, so I don't know. Check what network you're on.
I tried both.
Oh, did you? Could be something wrong with the internet. Or maybe they hate the fact that you're streaming right now. You're like, I'm on a radio show.
Ben Stiller's listening.
Ben Stiller. He's the one with the button pressing it. What did you think of the movie, Chris?
Yeah, I thought, it had its moments, but there are definitely some just kind of overall thematic issues with it.
What stood out to you the most that you had like an actual like belly laugh? And then what moment did you have where it was like, you were like, oh my God, this would never happen in a movie today?
There's a couple moments that I thought probably wouldn't happen. Like the scene with the dance, the girls' camp and the dance, and the girls were like, man, we'd dance with them if they just weren't so fat. Like,
ugh.
And then
we have a big note on that. We have a big note. We have a star next to that note on that one. Is that the girls are saying, oh, I wish they would just lose weight and we would dance with them. And then the other...
they all just can't throw up like you.
Exactly. After they eat, just like you.
Yeah.
And it like normalized bulimia, and it normalized it as if like this popular girl probably might do that.
When I was in middle school, bulimia was a big topic.
Oh, yeah.
In Vegas. And it's probably because of these movies, man. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts that a disorder is brought up in a children's movie. A serious disorder.
Yeah.
Like, and then...
normalized in a children's movie.
Yeah. And then to just pass it off like, oh, no, that's just a normal conversation. Like, yeah, she does that. I don't. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, excuse me? Middle school?
Yeah. All right, what else did you have, Chris?
Other odd part that I'm not sure was when they blindfold the guy to do sit-ups and then, like, basically almost teabag him as he's doing sit-ups.
Yeah.
And then still he takes off the mask and continues to, like, stare at this dude's backslide and possible chicken brains poking out. I'm like, that's kind of questionable.
I just hope everyone got paid. It's just a lot of weird. It's a lot of weird. Because, like, well, we'll talk about the next movie in the next segment because that's terrible.
Yeah.
But, yeah, these moments of just, like, weird exposing or overly objectified women's sexual exposure, like, moments that are just treated like comedy. And you're just like, why in a kid's movie?
Yeah. I also noticed that, like, when they did the Native American depictions at the way in, like, because every camp movie, for some odd reason, it always turns to one group is like
that is
the Indians.
They always play
natives.
cowboys and Indians. I don't know why this is.
Minus the cowboys. It's like campers and Indians. It's weird.
I'm going to try to find other Disney movies or whatever, because this literally is something. This is also in I can tell you right now, it's in Beverly Troop 90210.
Troop 90110.
Yes.
And then also in that
Troop Beverly.
What is it? Jonathan Taylor Thomas movie.
Yes. That's on the cover. Jungle to Jungle.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna find these movies where it's either the kid goes to his dad's for the summer or kid goes to camp. Parent Trap. Dude, there are so many movies. Why?
Addams Family.
Hey, we're outside. That means dress as an Indian. What the hell?
That's insane. Addams Family does it.
Hey, we're all camping. Camping is kind of like being in a teepee, so let's put feathers on our head. This is terrible.
And then the other part is like in Addams Family is where they're dressed as Indians and then they like take on the Indian role and then they even become super violent.
Yeah, burning at the stake and she's burning her own brother. Well, that's Wednesday, but
but it's still but they lean into the like Indian role to say that they're extremely violent. That like this is cool. That's what they were trying to do, and it's like this is still just not cool.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like trying to say the Indians.
You think it all stemmed from Peter Pan?
Yeah,
let's all blame.
Oh, absolutely, probably.
Let's just blame Peter Pan because, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be the Lost Boys style. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lost Boys and the Indians.
Because now that's all
there,
edited. The song when you watch Peter Pan on Disney, it's not what makes the red man red.
Oh wow!
They changed the song to what makes the tall man tall or something. Like it's different. And the sound quality is the best part of the whole movie. It's just
tall.
And because it's a new song. So it's like, it's just, not like that 50s accent when you sing. Yeah, I don't know what's with all the native outside.
I noticed
camping.
also at the way end of the movie is that all of the kids that were in like the Indian garb, the only one that wasn't was the woman.
Oh yeah,
like
she was a pilgrim.
She was like in a white tunic type of like flowy, mostly see-through type of clothes.
Well, from the beginning of the movie, she was like the angelic, like save all character. Like she's the middle ground. The kids come to her and talk to her about things because she's the soft mom figure. That's what they do, and they got to have,
the soft mom.
Because why didn't they have any other female characters in the whole movie? There can only be one.
That's true.
She was the Princess Leia of the movie. We could totally combine this movie with Star Wars, and I think it would work. Ben Stiller's Darth Vader.
All right, and I'm going to tell you that Ben Stiller does a lot of fat shaming, and I'm okay with it, and I'll tell you why I think Ben Stiller fat shaming these kids with extremely vulgar and abusive language is okay. All after this.
Dan.
I'll tell you why.
The hook.
I feel that.
The Guy Show about movies.
Don't you have any respect for yourself?
Seriously. Anything worth taking seriously is worth making fun of. The Director's Cut.
I wet my bed until I was 19. There's no shame in that.
Only half of our audience is below average. The Director's Cut.
I'll leave this rodeo before I get too old. These stars have guided me through stories I have told. And when the trail leads out, my boots don't wanna go. I piled up years, too many to forego. But as a traveler, my road don't seem to end. I've been there to ride past every next last bend. And who's to say I'm making headway on this path? You're still around, I guess it will be to the last. And I ain't never gonna be the better one, so that's my notion. That I can put every right letter to the color ends this way. And if you keep a lot of it about a mile of mile,
you're listening to Director's Cut Radio. Each and every week we're bringing the latest in Hollywood. My name is Dan. In the studio, we have the lovely Harley Quinn 505, Miss Steph Sugar.
Hello.
On the phone, we have Chris Maloney, our man from the comic book shop. How are you, Chris?
Hello.
Hello. Hello. All right, any more thoughts on heavyweights that you saw or felt?
Yeah, it's just I say a product of a different time. Not the greatest of movies, but kind of fun to look back on and see what was and I just guess all the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really love Ben Stiller.
I liked his character, and I think the reason why I am like when we're writing down the notes of things that were that we shouldn't be doing in a movie or normalizing, like the bulimic comment by one of the younger women in the movie. I thought it was still okay for Ben Stiller to say the worst stuff and his character to say the worst stuff and be abusive and verbally abusive because, like we said before, he is the villain that you hiss at. We all know that he is the one that is supposed to be doing bad things. So it is okay for a villain to be abusive and aggressive and disgusting and say terrible, terrible things because we all know that's wrong. So he could point at a kid and say, you little fat whatever, blah, 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 disgusting, blah, 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 in a very abusive way. And guess what? It's okay because that is his character, and we all know that is wrong. That was my thought on it.
Well,
I can see that.
The kid that played the main character, he was hired to be the fat kid going to a fat camp.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller was hired to be the villain for a fat camp.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone was hired for their position.
Mm-hmm.
Great. They signed up for a contract. They signed up for a movie.
They read the scripts beforehand.
They know the script. Yeah. All right. And I'd sign up too. All right. What I don't sign up for is the extra little comments that really are damaging. The extra input of bulimia that is completely damaging for normal conversation. And I don't think, these are things. I was on a set and I was able, for my Better Call Saul episode, I was able to tell the director, hey, and he was like, well, you have to talk to my producer and my screen director over there. I was like, okay. So I went and talked over there, and I was like, hey, instead of the guys waving cash towards the girls dancing, they should really be throwing it. And they were like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, it would just be a little bit more realistic to just throw it, because waving it is just kind of like, it's just like you're trying to get an animal to come near you with like food or something. Like this is, a strip club scene. And they totally did it. They changed the scene
just because
on the
it's
spot.
Nice.
So it's like, if you think about it, these people sign up for a scene or a movie or whatever. They're going to get paid. They get to be in a movie for Disney. That's a big deal. And then someone just decides, hey, let's put this bulimia line. That's funny as heck. No, Jim Bob, it ain't.
Yeah.
And now here we are realizing it really ain't. But the problem is that at that time, someone just let it happen. It was just normal topic, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe Hollywood coverage and stuff of how harsh paparazzi and things like that. I mean, maybe it just really made it all normal, because that's all we were really doing in the 90s was keeping up with celebrities. We are watching what they're eating and what they're doing, how they're losing weight so fast after they have a baby and they're a Victoria's Secret model. And it's like, I grew up with that pressure. I grew up watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show. It's like, if we're watching this stuff all the time, seeing a line like that in a movie, is it really drastic? No. And now, here we are 20 years later, and I realize that is messed up.
Yeah.
So it's just, it just goes to, the Song of the South thing. At that time, that was okay. Now it's not. And, these people signed up for a movie, and something, we don't know the events, but someone could have just said, hey, on the spot, let's add this line.
Yeah.
And then guess what? You're already signed up. You're already there. You can't really fight with people that are paying you thousands of dollars.
I'm going to try to pull it up on Disney to find out what that line is that they're using on everything. That shows cultural depictions.
The warning?
Yeah, the warning on everything. Have you seen that, Chris?
Yeah.
I've not noticed that on anything.
See, that's what I mean. Like, if you're not noticing it.
Watch. I'll show you.
Well, I know HBO was doing it for like Gone with the Wind, which I also, I haven't watched Gone with the Wind on HBO. So, but I didn't know Disney was doing it. Is it for like every single episode or just certain things?
Certain things that have like some sort of controversy to it.
That one does not, but
Heavyweights doesn't?
I'm looking at Heavyweights, and it says.
Wait, click on it like to the info part.
I did.
Go to details.
Oh, let's see. Contains
the
only.
Oh my God.
The only warning is contains tobacco depictions. The other one, watch. Let me show you this. I'm gonna, or at least tell everybody at home this. Where is it? We watched the. Where is it? It's like the Mickey Mouse Club Mouseketeers go to Disneyland, and it mentioned it there. And that was creepy as hell. That one had a weird... We started watching that earlier this week, too. And that one's... I don't know when that was made. It way before this. And there was even a scene where these two young 12-year-olds are hitting on this old guy. It was
oh, my
really
God.
Remember that?
When was that? Okay. So the Disney... It was like... The Disney Mickey Mouse Club goes to Disney World, right?
Yes.
Okay. And these two girls are like in line for ice cream or something, or they're buying something, and they're just like, there's this older man like in his 40s sitting on a bench, and they're just like, yeah, well, I'm gonna like go say hi to that guy. It's just like, what? Why?
Okay,
there it is. And so basically, they're just hitting on an old man, and they're like teenagers.
1977. These two, and the weird thing about it is that they were in very small clothes, like the entire time in this show. Like,
well, even in these '90s movies, like
that's true.
all of these movies that we're watching, I'm noticing how they're dressing the girls, and it's really making me believe into this like pedophile world, and I'm just like, wow.
There it is. The Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World. If you notice the last two, yeah.
Yeah, this program is presented as originally created. It may contain outdated cultural depictions. It may. No, it straight up does, y'all. All right? Like, don't sugarcoat this. Come on.
It may.
Ridiculous.
It depends on whether you're racist or not. Racists, it's okay,
Well,
right?
listen, if I am enjoying my summer as a teenager that wants to be away from my parents and such, I'm going to be watching Disney Plus by myself, and no one is around me to explain to me right from wrong of what I am watching and witnessing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what, guys? You ain't paying attention to your kids. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? That's it. It's just, you got to watch what they're watching.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with more from Director's Cut Radio all after this. We're that show about movies and
camping.
Yeah.
One podcast, one radio, lots of insanity. The Director's Cut. You're listening to The Director's Cut, the nation's #1 show about movies.
We have the most gadgets and the most gimmicks.
We have the tools. We have talent.
Did he actually call himself the Talent?
The Director's Cut.
Gimme.
To your bed, scared of the monsters inside your head. Boy, you gotta quit sucking your thumb now. It's getting late, getting a little cold out. And tell me something, will you be alright? you really want. Give it up.
Yeah.
A little piece of your love. Give it up.
You're listening to Director's Cut Radio. You know, each and every week we bring you latest in Hollywood. My name is Dan in the studio. I'm a fan of Harley Quinn 505.
Hi.
And her fan.
Hi.
And also on the phone, we have Chris Maloney. How you doing, Chris?
Hi.
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 Is there anything else you want to add about heavyweights? Anything that we missed?
This movie, still to this day, every time I see it, makes me want to be thrown off the blob or jump onto the blob.
Yeah, the blob looks awesome.
Yeah. Those still exist.
We did.
I've never.
Yeah,
been
we
on
did one in Santa Rosa last summer, but it was like not on that kind of same scale and was a little bit of a letdown.
A tiny blob.
Yeah, how do people keep
blob.
from like crashing into the pier, or getting flung into the pier that people are jumping off of?
Because you're on the opposite end, and it like pushes you forward and up.
Okay.
Not backwards.
Well, it depends. What if you hit it wrong? Wouldn't physics be able to launch you another
all
direction?
the force of the air is traveling the
direction.
direction from the person that hits it. Physics, Dan.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Not that I understand.
It's bad lag today, y'all.
Bad lag?
Bad lag today.
Disconnecting a lot today?
Yeah, we've got some bad connections going on.
Yeah, she's trying to connect and be live on suicidegirls.com. Which, if you listen to the show, you can listen to the live version of the show Sunday mornings on suicidegirls.com. Well, majority of the show. You also get the Steph side of things, which is more of the show.
Yeah, you can actually see.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's fun. So, yeah, the blob seems cool. I don't know. The 90s depictions of, like, obesity is and how mean everyone is towards this kid. And it's like, he's not actually that. I don't even notice it. He's not even overweight. He's just hanging out. But they really lean on it, and the parents are like, you need to lose weight. You are not a blah, 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 that kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
They also did it again in Camp Nowhere when one of the girls has to go to a fat camp, and like the mom is like, you need to lose weight, that kind of thing. And it just really drove in that.
Yeah, Camp Nowhere, I guess we can.
That one was a little weirder. We'll keep this one short.
Yeah, Camp Nowhere, similar idea of like kids going to camp, but different in the fact that we've got Christopher Lloyd as just this like.
He's a drama teacher, and he dresses up a lot of characters and helps convince the kids' parents that they're all going to different camps. So like a military camp,
whatever the camp that the parents are like really wanting to force their kid into, and then the kid pretends that he has no idea what's going on, and then Christopher Lloyd basically gets in 8 different cosplays and helps the kids' parents be convinced that they're going to either an acting camp or a dance camp or a fat camp or a military camp or a computer camp.
Yeah.
And then his fitness camp character was based off Richard Simmons. It was really cute. And it's a good movie to see just for Christopher Lloyd's like little acting bits and stuff and different characters. But as far as the kids acting and as far as like, let's make sure that the boys have porn.
Oh, yeah.
When they arrive at camp, they've got a whole trunk full of magazines, and then it's like it doesn't show anything for like the girls. It just shows them like setting up their room or getting there or whatever. And I'm just like, this is weird. All right. And then it's like this throughout the whole movie, there's this kid that keeps pressuring this other girl to do skinny dipping. And she's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. Keeps telling him no. And yeah. And then by the end of the movie, she ends up, that was the only thing I was happy about, was that by the end of the movie, she was able to actually pressure him to take his clothes off. And then she tricked him and she actually wasn't naked. And she walks out of the lake.
And steals his clothes, yeah.
And steals his clothes that he just took off. But throughout the whole movie, you're still seeing this like pressure coming from a dude asking a girl to do something that she has repeatedly said no. And it's just like, all right. That's current as heck.
Yeah.
and making kids kiss at the end of summer camp.
Yeah, those
is
are
really
weird.
gross.
Yeah,
That's
especially
really
in these
gross.
movies, like 11-year-olds kissing. It's like,
Well, especially when they had no chemistry, the whole storyline.
yes,
The whole storyline, they're just kids.
it's like you're male, you're female.
why
Let's
was-
make you make out.
There wasn't even this much love in Goonies. And those kids are actually the age that would be like making out and stuff. And you know, there was a makeout scene between the one couple.
Yeah.
And like,
But when the other kids kiss in Goonies, they're like, ooh, and it's like, that kind of thing.
yeah. It's just interesting that like all of a sudden at the end of this movie, everyone's getting paired up and kissing, and it's
weird.
It's so gross to see like 9-year-olds like using tongue, and like you can tell they don't know what they're doing. I'm like, why would you do this? This is not needed. So I was really bothered by
Where you
like
go to explore your budding hormones this summer camp.
right,
stuff.
but you don't do it in front of your parents, Chris. They were like, it was literally like the most awkward thing. It was like in Goonies, it's like they're in a cave. It's private. You know, it's just it seems more realistic, and like that's how my kisses went. It was in private, but at this camp movie, they're just like. You know the kid that played Johnny Tsunami on Disney Channel?
Okay.
He was the surfboard kid. He was in this movie of Camp Nowhere. So he was like the only recognizable character I saw. And I always
Jessica
thought,
Alba wasn't it?
oh yeah, for a hot second. But he has this line where he says, the girl walks up and she's like, oh, you're so sweet. And he was like, wow, if you were in a skirt right now, I'd be in heaven.
Because he was like sitting below her and he could look up.
And
That's what it was.
don't watch this movie.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more from Director's Cut Radio all after this. We are Director's Cut Radio.
Dropping your average IQ since 2005.
I don't know what you're saying, but that's what's going on, yeah.
The Director's Cut. TheDirector'sCutRadio.com.
10,000 microwinds of knowledge.
You're listening to The Director's Cut. Without microphones, we'd still live with our parents.
Take back what you said. Oh, those empty promises we made. I see the way you look at me. Oh, the love in your eyes, how it's changed. Forgive me for my stutter, but all this whiskey took my word.
You're listening to Director's Cut Radio. You know, each and every week we're bringing the latest in Hollywood. My name is Dan, and in the studio we have the lovely Harley Quinn, 505, Miss Steph Sugar.
Hello.
On the phone, we have Chris Maloney, our man from the comic book shop.
Hello.
And we also have Pat, which is Steph's dad, who wants to help us talk about rock and roll, autograph collecting, and the Tower Records documentary, which is totally awesome. We'll talk about it in just a second. What is the name of it again?
All Things Must Pass.
All Things. I was like, this too must pass. And
Yeah.
you shall not pass. And all. I started picturing Gandalf and all that.
Last Supper. It's called Last Supper. Just totally get it so wrong.
My kidney stone might pass. I don't.
No. Oh my gosh.
Terrible, terrible titles. Before the music you're listening to is a little bit from Red Light Cameras. If you want to get your music sent, just go to directorscutradio.com at the bottom of the page. Click on it, send us your music, and we'll play it on the air. And this is all about music. Pat, you're a big music fan, and one of the biggest music fans I absolutely know. So, and I work with a lot of radio people. I would ask, what did you think of this documentary? Based on Tower Records, it's basically the story of it opening and closing and the lifespan of Tower Records and how it made a ton of money and died.
Well, I was a big avid customer of theirs, so I loved it. The story is sad on one end, but on the other end, look, they're still thriving in Japan, and they just now relaunched. I want to say TowerRecords.com. So I mean, they're really trying to make something out here in the States again. So, yeah, it's I encourage anybody who's into music, CDs, records, tapes, whatever, however you listen to your music, go watch this documentary because it's fascinating.
And there's something interesting that since I know you a little bit, you're kind of on this weird fine line that you're not necessarily in the music industry, but kind of are, like you and like friends and family are, but you're not necessarily just a consumer, but you also are. It's like you're not just a fan, you're like right in the dead center of being a fan, being a rock star, being a consumer, being like that weird gray area spot that you are a little bit of all of the above.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but yeah.
So
not your typical person by any means.
So like, how did you see this movie connect to you? Because you see it from both sides, like as a person in the industry looking at, oh, this is where they sell our products, and then from the other side, this is where you get all the products.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like an old man here for a second, but
that's fine.
The younger generations have no idea what it's like to actually shop for music and hold something tangible, and this was a place where you could go do that. And as a music lover in general, before I started having friends in the business and corresponding with other people in the business and so on and so forth, this was your place to go. And it didn't matter what genre of music you were into, because there were just so many great album covers and new experiences, and you see something, you have a couple things in your hand, but then you look over, in another bin or another aisle down, and something catches your eye. You're like, what is that? So, it's definitely different. I mean, when you can actually walk into a record store and grab something in your hands, because it's in this day and age, to me, it's a lot better than actually shopping online, because shopping online is just a click, and by the time you get it, you're just like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
You don't the experience of actually buying music is gone unless you really go out there and start searching for the mom and pop shops. And Tower, they were countrywide, they were worldwide. I mean, there was massive stores in London, and again, to this day, they're still thriving in Japan. And the main media out in Japan, as you saw in the documentary, is still CDs.
And Chris, you're also an avid music collector. Like, what do you miss about going? Like, Chris collects a lot of music and vinyl and stuff like that. Did you see this documentary?
I have not seen this one. So what's it called? I'll have to check this one out.
We bought it on our iTunes.
It was only like $6 on iTunes, so I might be able to let you borrow it on.
I think we can send
Movies
it to
Anywhere or something like that.
Yeah.
I watched it. I watched it on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix.
Oh.
It might be on Netflix.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
How long ago did you watch it?
How long ago did I watch it?
Oh, this came out in 2015. So yeah, it's been out for 5 years.
Yeah, it's been about a year or a little over a year since I watched it.
Okay. So what do you miss about collecting vinyl, Chris, or going to a record shop to find music?
I think I agree with Pat there. I just say that, the act of discovery, or, the hunt or the dig, as record collectors would put it, kind of makes you feel like an archaeologist. And it's that thing of like finding the thing you didn't know you were looking for, or the thing you didn't know that you were even interested in. That, like you said, you may just say, oh, that's a cool cover that I've never seen before, and pick it up, and you might find your next favorite band, or just the thrill of the unexpected, I guess, is probably the best way to put it.
A couple of Christmases ago, we interviewed the writer and director of a documentary called Jingle Bell Rocks. His name is Mitchell Kezin. And then basically it's him looking for the odd. Him and I have a very similar taste in finding music. We look for the oddball stuff. I will go even further to look for like the sounds of breathing on vinyl. Like he likes the Christmas music. So he likes the oddball Christmas music you've never seen before. And he has a whole documentary of him hunting for these weird Christmas music tracks and searching all over for it because he likes to make a mixtape once a year for all of his friends and family. And
yeah, I'm turning into that guy.
That's good.
Yeah, I have this weird fascination about Christmas music, and I try to play one record at the beginning of December, all the way through the 12 days of Christmas. One record per day, something that I've never had, never owned, and it's kind of a weird obsession.
For 12 days. And that's the funny thing is Chris also makes a Christmas album and gives them to friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
we love Christmas. Yesterday and Friday they were celebrating Christmas in July on the radio here in town, and they were playing Christmas music.
We were bumping it while driving down the road.
Day and night. We were just blaring Christmas. We were telling people.
As Stephanie knows, we used to have Christmas music pumping through the house all the time. So it was a great time of the year for us to really listen to the great songs of Christmas, and the meaning of.
Have you seen the documentary Jingle Bell Rocks? You should check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out now for sure.
It's a good one. We found when we went to Amoeba, last time we went to Amoeba, I just leave Dan in this weird corner as he's wearing an Amoeba shirt now. I leave him in this weird corner where he's just digging through like 45s and trying to find like the vinyls that are just like the weird sounds.
It's weird. I love the weirdest stuff.
He found one that's just it's 6 tracks. It's like an hour long or something, but it's like each track is something to do with like a beer bottling factory.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And it's just the sounds of like
the sounds
bottles
of brewery.
On a on a conveyor belt, and it's just cling 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 cling. It's just like all these bottles
all vinyl.
And then the next song is the bottles getting filled up, and I'm like, this is vintage ASMR. It's just a record if anyone wants to listen to it on a record player.
I love that stuff. I love it that they produce and release albums that are just so weird. And I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to put like 1,000 albums out of just like me breathing or the sounds of sneezing or something like that. Just so that I can have it printed and then just leave them at vinyl shops and sell them give them to people because I'm not going to make any money off of them. It's just more of an art project of me making vinyl because I love vinyl that way. And I also love the vinyl that, like any novelty vinyl, I'm leaning in that direction. One of the better vinyls that I like is, or if it's a novelty vinyl, yes, like a color or a shape, it's cool. But I like the ones where they like break the rules of vinyl, where like there's a mini vinyl inside a 12-inch that you actually have to break the 12-inch to crack out the like 3.5 inch in the center core.
Sure.
It's the first Wonder Egg.
It is. That's what it is. It's a Wonder Egg, but vinyl.
It's the unboxing trend that's all over the internet.
But you have to destroy a 12-inch to get to the little one on the inside.
Dan.
That's what I like.
See, I'd be the guy that would not want to crack it open because I'm like, I can't destroy this record.
I'd be the guy that would buy 2.
Yeah, see, I would buy 2.
I would destroy one. Just because it's all part of the process to experience the vinyl that the creators made and then have one on the sides that I can just save.
Just depends on that price point. If you can afford to.
I thought it was like a Ziploc situation where you could like kind of take it apart and put it back together.
I don't I thought there was one that you did actually destroy. Like I know that I thought there was one that you pulled apart and you destroyed.
I don't know for sure. I could never afford them.
Or the disgusting ones where like blood of the band members are like put together in. No, they actually like there was one where the band members all got IVs and they pumped out like a bag of blood, each of them.
Who did this?
I'm trying to remember.
No.
Ask Pat.
Yeah, he knows.
I've seen
did it for their comic book.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a weird story about that too. I'll continue with that one here in a second. But, the blood that's infused in between the layers of the vinyl, so it moves like a lava lamp kind of thing. Yeah.
Was that Slayer?
I've seen that done several times. Yeah.
I think it's done a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Slayer that did it?
No, I don't think. I'm not sure if Slayer did one of those, but it's. I saw this probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was kind of, it was new at the time, and you're just like, whoa, I've never seen that before.
I realized that a lot of my close friends are huge vinyl heads. Like I just totally forgot. Like it's normal to me that going over to their house and their garage
was the Flaming Lips.
Flaming Lips.
The Flaming Lips, blood vinyl. They made 10 copies. They were $2,500.
Wow.
Yep, that's it.
Dang.
Yeah, so like I noticed that like a lot of my friends like Mike T and DJ Cut, they have garages of this is just an entire like I bet you if I pulled all my friends' vinyl together, we have a Tower Records. What, dude, why are you getting chills? What's going on, Steph?
I can't handle. I just saw a picture of these bloody vinyls. I was like, whoa, somebody bought this. Just could you imagine just a bloody vinyl sitting on a shelf and they're like, hey, you want to see my bloody
Gross. Yeah, and even Pat works at a record shop. Oh, hold on. Let's take a break. We'll be back. We got to take a break. We'll be back with more from Director's Cut Radio. We're running out of time on this segment. We'll be right back with more from Director's Cut Radio all after this. For that show about movies and
music.
Bloody vinyl.
The Director's Cut.
Offensive, obnoxious, disgusting. You want me to go on?
Insulting listeners since 2005. We're just a couple of guys who like movies.
It's strange at times to work with. They're insane. But, always fun.
The Director's Cut.
It's just fun!
I'm a Christmas unicorn in a uniform made of gold, with a billy goat beard and a sorcerer's shield and a mistletoe on my nose. Oh, I'm a Christian holiday. I'm a symbol of original sin. I've a pagan tree and a magical wreath and a bow tie on my chin. Oh, I'm a pagan heresy.
You're listening to Director's Cut Radio. You know, each and every week we're bringing the latest in Hollywood. My name is Dan, and in the studio we have the lovely Harley Quinn 505, Miss Steph Sugar.
Hello.
And on the phone we have Chris Maloney.
Hello.
And Pat, our music guy out in Tennessee.
What's up?
How are you?
What's the name of the record shop out there?
The record store that I frequent often and out here, and it's a good friend of mine. I help him out like 3 or 4 days a week. It's called Spinner's Record Shop. They're on Facebook and Instagram. They got a great shop. Check it out. And there's tons of stuff, man. A lot of old stuff, a lot of new stuff, a lot of high-end wall records. That kind of stuff. There's T-shirts, you name it. There's buttons, all kinds of memorabilia. So. It's a great shop.
And the music you were listening to is called Christmas Unicorn. It was actually given to me by Michael Kezin from that interview. Yeah, so this is the song he wanted me to play. So this is one of his Christmas songs that he found last year. So he was excited.
We should send him an email.
And get him on again this year?
Yeah, just see what he's been doing in quarantine.
How does he? Yeah, we need to find out.
He's already got the project going, but now that we have all this extra time, everyone's working on stuff again. But then we can see. We just do an annual show with him just to keep up on the record news of his little tracks that he makes.
Yeah. We just got to keep on track with that. So.
Yeah, Jingle Bell Rock. That was a good one.
That's a good documentary. It actually takes place in Amoeba.
Oh, yeah.
He starts off hunting for Christmas songs in Amoeba at the way beginning. So.
That's right.
Nice.
Okay. What were you going to say about the blood ink topic?
Oh, yeah. Going back to the Kiss story about them dropping the vials of blood into the red ink that was supposed to be printed for the first and spectacular Kiss comic book back in 1976, 77, I believe. And so they get their blood drawn, and they were going to dump the blood into the red ink. And when that happens, you just kind of do your thing and then you leave, and then they take the ink somewhere else and then they do with it what they need to. And supposedly there's a story out there that the red ink did not make it to the comic book, and it ended up in a Sports Illustrated magazine. So,
wow.
Don't know if that's 100% true, but that's,
you could do a DNA test. Can't you? If it has human matter in it, yeah, you could probably figure it out.
I don't know.
Just do a swab. Now
That's funny.
Rock stars. That maybe we should get this vinyl from what you call it, the blood vinyl. Crack it open and then start committing some crimes and leave their blood behind.
Jeez, there you go. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Just putting blood in vinyl.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, they're putting all kinds of liquid in vinyls now.
Wow.
Glow in the dark liquids, all that kind of stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
Like the ooze floor over at the hotel in.
Oh yeah, that's probably the same concept. We stayed in this Ghostbusters themed hotel room in Denver.
Amazing.
And they had these floor tiles that were squishy green slime in the tiles, and when you stepped on them, it looked like a lava lamp. And then when we went we did little scooters in LA, and we went to a little side shop thing with souvenirs, and then they had the tiles for sale. They were like $16 a tile. And then we found them on Amazon, and we're like, you know what?
Let's just tile the whole house.
Yeah.
That's what we should tile it with.
Yeah, the kids would have a blast. We have time now. We have time to do that. We have time to retile
we'll do a
the
patch.
floor.
How many floor pieces do we need? We'll do some measurements.
So when I was watching the documentary, it was very interesting to realize that Tower Records did just completely disappear very quickly.
Yeah. It was like gone.
Well, as you saw in the documentary, the Best Buy kind of really did them in because they were ordering their CDs by the truckloads, and they were undercutting all the big record stores out there, and so everyone was flocking to the Best Buys, and that's kind of a big part of all even the mom and pop record stores couldn't compete with that brand, and they had to close. Yeah.
But the problem was, I think the record store's original idea wasn't to sell music. It was more of like a hangout spot, a sex club for
they were drinking.
18-year-olds.
I mean, they just did
high school kids. That's what it was.
I don't
it's like
think
a
they really
bar without a
realized
bar.
that it was gonna go national, but they couldn't say no to how successful it was.
Right.
So maybe if they just had better management, it did start out as a hangout, yes, but guess what, guys? It's not a hangout anymore when you're selling $75,000 in a day.
But that's that's the thing about Tower Records culture versus other record shops like Best Buy, is that the Tower Records culture was like, you can hang out here.
Right.
You can listen to the music. You can go home without buying anything. This is a hangout spot. We have lounge chairs for you.
Best Buy, they're all in your butt every 2 seconds.
Can I help
just
you?
Because you're staring at the back of a CD and you're like, can I just read something without being interrupted?
And I think the beauty sorry.
And the ironic thing, if you've noticed lately, if you've ever been at Best Buy, they no longer carry music.
Oh yeah, it's dead. It's not there at all.
So thank you, Best Buy.
Kill Tower Records and then kill off the music industry. No, but the other thing is, and I think the reason why these spots why Tower Records was so successful is because next to the original Tower Records was an empty parking lot.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
it's tailgating.
There were different forms of buildings next to one another. I mean, it was just. I saw a gigantic Tower Records in LA once, and it was like a 2-story thing, and I was like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. And I've seen the smallest of small Tower Records, so
that's true.
It was a brand name, so
but I
if
think
you're going to buy if you're going to buy someone's new record, it was an automatic thing of like, hey, go down to Tower Records. Now in Vegas, there was a 24-hour record store called Odyssey Records.
Okay.
So if Tower was closed, hey, just swing on down over to Odyssey, and you'd be able to pick the same thing up over there.
But isn't that just saying that the whole thing is still just kind of a hangout spot? It's not necessarily a record store. It's more like something to do.
It was hanging out with like-minded people and learning about music, because you, like I said earlier, you could have a record in one hand, and then someone says to you, hey, can you hand me that one right there? And you give it to them, and you're like, whoa, what's this? And you start talking, and it's just like-minded people just enjoying music. And then, before you know it, you're grabbing the same record that person just grabbed, you know?
Because then, like, certain record stores were alphabetical, and then other record stores, or like the flea market and stuff, they would separate it by genre. If you're standing in that same general area, and you both are in the same area, and then you guys start talking about like, oh, well, I like this album. I haven't listened to that one yet.
Sure.
So it's like,
and also too, about record stores in general, even Tower Records, the staff, the staff makes a huge difference, because they're personalities of that shop. And if you walk in and somebody remembers your name, you walk through and they're like, hey Stephanie, hi, good to see you. What are you looking for today? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm looking for so and so. Oh yeah, it's right over here. Come here, let me show you. And that made a world of difference, with
or
Best
when
Buy
they keep stuff to the side for you, because they know that like you are a frequent customer that comes every Tuesday or Friday, and they're like, oh well, this guy comes every Friday, so like when we get this box, don't open it until I open it first or whatever. And it's like,
Pat's on his way in. He's a big Kiss fan. It's going to be here. Let's get him that one. We only got 3 of them. Let's save one for Pat because he's coming in later. That kind of thing.
Because he's going to kill me if I don't save one for him.
And if you say, and if memory serves me right, in the documentary, they would close Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard for Elton John to come in and buy records the night before, like at 12 o'clock, because they used to put everything out at 12, and then you'd be able to go in and buy it right at 12 and midnight. And he had multiple homes, so he would pick out like 3 and 4 of each record, because he'd want to have that record at each home.
Wow,
it's like crazy. It's like you can't order it online.
And this is Elton John, who probably could say, hey, can I have that? No, he actually went out and supported the artist, new artists, and bought tangible items, and supported it.
And that's what I believe about my friends. Instead of like saying, hey, can you get me a copy of I will always go out and buy a book. If it's one of my close friends, I don't even have to read the book. Like, I have friends that are authors. I have several of their books, haven't even read them. But I go out and buy them to support my friend. And I buy them from the shop, or I buy them from my friend, that kind of thing.
Doesn't matter what media it is,
Yeah. So, but
I'm sorry, Chris. Chris is just listening.
Oh, no worries. I'm liking it, man. I'm nostalgic for driving down Sunset Boulevard in LA.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, what type of culture, or how can we bring back the record shop, or bring back that type of culture these days?
Well, believe it or not, it's all about education. As Stephanie knows, we used to just kind of her whole growing up was surrounded by different genres of music. And me, I would try to educate her as much as I possibly could of like, hey, this is this, even though it may not be your cup of tea, at least hand down that knowledge. A lot of the knowledge has been slipped, by a couple generations, where people just don't have that passion.
Well, and then growing up, we would watch we actually had cool channels on TV. We were actually watching TV, but the TV at that time was VH1 shows that did have cool pop-up videos. MTV actually had facts at the bottom of the screen during the music videos, and then we still had extra channels channel 143
Yeah.
and 144. And we would learn facts throughout watching cool music videos. And it's like, all right, we're seeing a bunch of girls in bikinis, but then we're reading that they were actually all scholars at this one university that they all went to school together with or something. Like, it was just some weird fun fact throughout music videos and stuff. And it was like, that doesn't exist anymore. I barely see music videos now.
I think the way we get our music now is through TikTok and through, but the thing is, you're not getting the whole song. We're only getting hooks, and it's people doing quick, like viral dances to the same dance over and over again to these hooks. And that's what's creating the music industry. Because I was recently working at like a top 40 station in Albuquerque, and I realized how dated it is by just being in the room with the guy who's the main host, and he's like way too old for the genre, really trying to act like he's like 19 TikTok girl, 19-year-old TikTok girl, and it just seems so disconnected to the community that even radio is missing the mark. And this is supposed to be the number one station of that genre in the city, and it doesn't have
it's not genuine,
the power behind it like it used to.
Yeah.
Like, even the generation that's supposed to be listening to it feels like it isn't listening to it because it just seems so dated.
Well, because it's such a click and go world these days. It's easy to just go, oh, I want to hear, this new artist. Okay, there
and
it is
only
right
for
there.
2 months. And it feels like such a vicious time for artists to even try to be artists, because they're going to make a hit, sure, and then something's either going to get dug up on them from the past, or it's going to be their song's just going to get overshadowed by someone else that's a hit for 2 months on TikTok or the radio.
All of this entertainment is literally about experience. It's the experience of going to a record store. It's the experience of taking, you can take your mom and your dad, or your, take your son or your daughter to an event, a record store, or a concert, or movies, or whatever your entertainment is. It's all about the experience. And of course, right now during COVID, you can't really experience anything. The experience. I think it's my job as a parent to instill these kind of things into my kids, of saying, hey, look, no matter how old you are, it's worth me driving to that place so you can experience it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
How do we rebuild that if COVID ends? We don't know. And we're going to leave that on that note. No, it just sounds, I totally agree with you that it's all about experience, going to shows.
Chris, wouldn't you agree it's all about the experience?
Definitely. And, with anything, you just got to kind of personalize it, and just clicking on something in the computer or doing anything instantaneously doesn't have the same visceral appeal.
I have a good example. So I showed a video of Gene Simmons to Jack a couple of 2 years ago, when he's learning about Kiss and stuff. But I showed him the video where Gene Simmons is doing the blood and the demon face and all that, and he's 3, looks at me, and he's kind of nervous but smiling and laughing, and then he looks at the TV and he's just mortified but glued to the TV. So, but he loves it, right? He loves it because Scooby-Doo, the animated movies, still come out, and there's one that they just love watching over and over again that has Kiss in there as the heroes. And
Sure.
Kiss and Scooby-Doo is the coolest combination. I don't know how it works, but it works so well. And they love it. And then it's Kiss was here last year in September, and it was raining like crazy. But I was you know what? I just want, this isn't something they're really going to understand because they're still kind of young. But at the same time, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And they need to experience it. So I made sure that they went.
She said it right there. It's all about the experience. And, with that particular band, it's a very visual audio.
They loved it.
Situation that they have going on there, because it's more than just music. It's, these guys are lugging around 50 pounds of equipment on their body while they're running across the stage and playing guitar and singing. You know, it's not your average band. So they're like, you know, people look at, you know, and just go, well, yeah, it's, you know, it's just not typical.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more from Director's Cut Radio all after this. Thank you very much for calling in, Pat. We'll chat with you next week, too, or some other time.
The Guy Show about movies.
Don't you have any respect for yourself?
Seriously. Anything worth taking seriously is worth making fun of. The Director's Cut.
I wet my bed until I was 19. There's no shame in that.
Only half of our audience is below average. The Director's Cut.
Yeah.
We met at your party.
Oh.
You came to my show. All of your promises.
You're listening to Director's Cut Radio. You know, each and every week we bring you the latest in Hollywood. My name is Dan. In the studio, we have the lovely Harley Quinn 505 dancing to Good Time Lover by Loomis and the Lust. On the phone, we have Chris Maloney. How are you, Chris?
Doing awesome. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. This week, we've been chatting a little. We've been all over the map. We got 90s movies that they wouldn't make these days. We talked a little bit about the Tower of Stuck documentary. I didn't get to the Mouseketeer stuff. Barely mentioned it, but like we saw Mouseketeers visit Walt Disney World, and it was just really outdated, gross, using kids in very oddly sexy ways and whatnot. It's just gross.
So terrible. It was like, it would be okay if it was an American Pie movie where everyone's over 18 and that's the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
But like this movie is supposed to be about like camping and hanging out.
And it's subtle, but yet not. It's weird. It's
well, the whole movie, they are camping and hanging out and being misfits and stuff and bad kids. And then all of a sudden at the end, it's just sexy time for children. All right.
A little bit. Like camp, even Camp Nowhere was like that. It was just like that one girl, like they had this one girl that was like the main
Camp Nowhere is what I was talking about.
I was talking about the Mouseketeer.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Mouseketeer one and how that they got weird?
Mouseketeer was just like the outfits were weird.
Really small and skimpy for some of the older females that are
teenagers.
It was weird.
Hitting on married men. And he was, because then a woman came up and walked away with him.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is a teenage girl hitting on married man.
Like 10 or
I was like,
11-year-old, 12-year-old, I think.
Shirley Temple trauma. Here it is.
It's terrible.
Hey, you want to go down a rabbit hole? All you got to do is get on YouTube. Go do it yourself. We won't talk about it here, but you got to get on YouTube and look up the Judy Garland rabbit holes and look up the Shirley Temple ones, because then you're just like, wow, this actually isn't cute. This is really weird.
It's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting.
Disgust. America.
All right. Let's race through the news with Chris. Chris, what do we have?
Real quick, Dan, I want to test your abilities here. I'm going to give you the title to a new movie coming out. Let's see if you can tell me what it's about. The title of the movie is To the Extreme.
To the Extreme?
To the Extreme.
It's a BMX movie or like a motorcycle movie. It's fast cars, fast life. It's basically a motorcycle version of Fast and the Furious.
Not quite, but Dave Franco has announced he will be starring in To the Extreme, the Vanilla Ice biopic.
Oh, okay, never mind. I take it back. I think I heard about this, but I didn't know it was called To the Extreme. I'm just picturing guys in BMX.
This is hilarious.
Yes, I heard about this.
Hilarious. Wow.
Last week I told you Mike Tyson would be fighting Jaws. This week, I tell you, Mike Tyson will be actually back in the boxing ring. He's got an exhibition match coming up on September 12th on pay-per-view versus Roy Jones Jr.
I heard about this.
Wow.
We'll see if Iron Mike's still got it.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. It was announced this week, Bill and Ted, the new sequel coming out, will be getting, at least at this point, a simultaneous theatrical and video-on-demand release on September 1st.
And we did see part of the Comic-Con interview with, what's his name? Kevin Smith and the cast of Bill and Ted's new movie. And it just popped up as an ad in YouTube.
It was a 43-minute ad.
Like one of those that you can't click away, but yet it popped up, and then after 5 seconds, it gave me the skip option. But it was basically them shoving Bill and Ted in our beak with Kevin Smith.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool. It seemed like pretty cool to watch. Yeah, we only watched a few minutes because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning by the time that popped on. We were going to be like, no, I'm passing out.
Yeah, that was interesting. And you can tell it like wasn't rehearsed or anything, because Kevin Smith's like, all right, we're going to bring in these viewers. We're going to bring in these people. And they just like pop in, and he's just
awkward.
like, hi, Bridget, how are you? And she's like, hi, I go by they, them. How are you? I was like,
whoa, you guys should have planned this beforehand.
And he was like, his answer was, that's great.
Yeah, it's almost like he didn't hear her. It's like, and it got really awkward right off the top. And it's like, whoa, plan this beforehand.
This is just on the internet, Chris. Like, this is just out there. I'm like, what? They didn't like edit this?
Or like, and they edited a lot of it, but it just seemed like that one they should have edited out. Like, she just really got a brace of like,
and her
I'm
face,
sorry, my pronouns are
face,
they, them.
Yeah, she was mad. Like, she was mad.
And you know, and Kevin Smith's like, oh, sorry.
But he can't edit that, because
otherwise
then she would have totally tore him apart.
Yeah.
He would be torn apart on the internet. So he did a very good job by answering right away, like, great. Like, it wasn't the best answer, but it's best that he answered and just moved on.
Thanks.
And the end. But her face, holy crap.
It was
looks
right
could
off the
kill.
top.
She was like stabbing. I was like, dang, all right. Well, maybe there should have been an email sent out prior.
Producers should have now, those producers now know, what's your pronoun?
Yes,
we'll get that to the host.
This needs to be a current conversation. I don't know why it wasn't brought up, but
New way to do it.
Someone should have brought it up. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know who, but holy crap, that was a heated moment. I saw. I was like, we can't watch any more of this. This is nuts.
This is getting dark.
It got deep.
The cast is mad. All right, what else, Chris?
I guess the Snyder Cut at this point is going to be at least 215 minutes long, probably longer. And Zack Snyder has made mention that there will be absolutely no shots that Joss Whedon directed in his movie.
What?
He would rather burn this entire movie to the ground than use anything that Joss Whedon put into the movie.
Why is there 100% such a fight?
My. All right.
All right, well, that's it. I guess we have to leave the show on that note.
We got to leave.
We got to go.
We got to go.
My pronoun is he. That's it. What's your pronoun?
I like adjectives.
Oh.
So
I like tacos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm going to start being an adjective.
All right.
The end.
That's it. Till next week. Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Chris. That was Director's Cut Radio.
The Director's Cut.
That was wonderful.
So good, even your neighbors had a cigarette. TheDirectorsCutRadio.com.
Baby Cats is drooling.